New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you.
A couple says discrimination came at them from an area Waffle House. They say they had to take their meals to go, all while watching other customers get to dine in.
You didn't say nothing to them when they came in here and sat down. We asked you, can we sit down? And you told us you only take it to go order.
The couple, Jamesia Bennett and her wife Cameron, says back in May they spent a nice day at Hollywood Casino, then decided to grab dinner at the Waffle House not far away.
Before we can even get in the door, the employee goes, you can only order to-go orders, no dine-in. We're not taking dine-ins.
At first they thought nothing of it, COVID after all. So they said what they wanted and hung around to wait for their to-go order. But then
a older white Caucasian guy walks through the door, and he asked the same employee that we asked, are y'all doing dine-in? And she kind of looks at us and kind of pauses, I guess to see if we're paying attention or whatever. And so she looked at him and goes like, yeah, you can dine in.
We sitting there looking at each other like, you gonna let them sit down and a cup of coffee?
Then they started taking video as another group also sat down.
I was in shock. Like, she approached her, she got up before I did, because I was still sitting there like, is this really happening?
The server seeming exasperated.
I'm the only server here, and I'm trying to catch up from our last shift and stuff like that. So I have my own reasons for telling you guys this.
But the Bennetts say at no point did anyone offer to let them sit down to eat after all.
I felt like I was begging to, like, why won't you let me sit here, like,
And eat as I'm paying, as the other customers are paying.
They feel there was only one reason they were turned away.
race. No other reason.
Their attorney, Lynette Petruska, says they've got a lot of questions.
Is this an isolated incident with an isolated server who did something wrong? Or does Waffle House have a systematic policy of trying to send a subtle message that African American customers aren't welcome?
All right, so at this point in time, I'm just going to cut in and just say that the lawyer basically failed them. And the one thing that they did state was that they are a Black couple who was also married. So very easily, not sure how everybody was dressed during that day, not sure if any type of wedding bands or anything like that were actually up for display visibly, which people could see. They could have easily went on the fact that, hey, we were discriminated against because we are a Black gay couple who is married and we wanted to sit in this Waffle House, and you have a variety of customers who don't look like us and servers who don't look like us, who basically allowed others to sit and to patronize and eat at the business while we were made to stand up and or to wait, directly to the side as others were able to come in and patronize the establishment. They could have very easily went for two different ways. For whatever reason they decided not to, and yet again for whatever reason the lawyer, who I don't know who that is, they decided not to use that as well. And I feel like that was 100% a failure, and which leads me to this point here.
But they say they received few answers from Waffle House and no sincere apologies until
are deeply sorry that we have two customers who had a bad experience with us and left feeling very unappreciated.
Vice President of the company and Jerry Boss says they did an investigation into the situation.
Out of that investigation, we believe what we found was very poor customer service that was rendered by a very young, inexperienced, and flustered server.
But she denies there was any racial motivation.
Earlier in the shift, in both of the shifts, we have video of her serving no problem customers of various diverse backgrounds, including Black customers, white customers, with no issue.
She says pandemic-related staffing shortages have made normal operations more difficult, but she says the company works hard to train its employees on best customer service standards. Overall, saying the company takes discrimination very seriously.
I know it can't take away the hurt that these customers felt and still feel, but we hope that it goes a long way in helping them to understand that that's not who we are. That's not what our brand stands for.
You said you let him sit down. Why? And why not us?
The Bennetts, though, say they just don't want others to feel as they did,
I was humiliated.
hoping it never happens again.
I just want to make sure that it doesn't happen to anyone else. Nobody else goes through this.
The vice president for Waffle House tells me the server voluntarily resigned and notes that the manager of that particular Waffle House is African American.
And this should also go to the other effect, right? When we have gatekeepers or different things like that, right? They'll put certain people in place just so if a certain situation takes place, oh, we're going to push this person directly in front. So you see a Waffle House there, right? You had two black women that felt that they were discriminated against. When you look at the video, they were. They're still standing there. You can clearly see a Caucasian couple go directly over and seat themselves, go directly over there and sit, right? And they're asking like, yo, so, you're just going to let them sit and we're just standing there after you just told us that you weren't having any type of dine-ins. You saw quite a few people sitting that did not look black at all. And then you had the woman who was black, right? Who is body blocking for Waffle House, is saying like, you know what, this is a terrible thing to happen, but this had nothing to do with race. This just had to do, with everything that was related to what was going on, and the fact that, the server was pretty much overwhelmed at the moment in time, but other than that, it had nothing to do, with race or discrimination or anything like that, because before then, we have, evidence that they don't want to show, right? That, the same server, the same people, the same Waffle House had no problem serving other individuals, as they should be served. Like I said before, it was a straight body block, and Waffle House won. And then on top of that, the lawyer didn't even go into the other aspect, which I stated before, right? And then on top of that, the vice president for Waffle House could not even state that these are black women. She didn't even state that. I'm like, wow. I'm like, come on now. Like, at least acknowledge the fact. But I guess, she can't do that in order to have like the stance that, Waffle House doesn't see race, and race wasn't, realistically an issue, that, she had to keep that directly out of, that whole line in order to make everything a clear-cut statement. Now, you'll have some people sit up there and say that, oh, well, this had nothing to do with races. This has happened to me before, at a variety of restaurants, and, I'm Caucasian. I'm like, that's great for you. That's great. But if we look at history, this is something that has been very much consistent. Like, we've had this happen at Waffle Houses. We had this happen at Denny's. We had this happen at IHOPs. Like, there's a multitude of restaurants where things like this continuously take place. So just you trying to, for those what ifs, like, oh, but this has happened to me and I'm not even black. So what does that say? I'm like, well, that doesn't happen to you historically, because no matter where you go around the world, pretty much you're always invited, or you invite yourself. When it comes to, black people or people that have way more melanin than all the rest of the world, the global majority, right? This is something that happens a lot to us. Right. And it's been happening to us, even though people know better, even though people should act better. But like I said before, these are the teachings that and the values that people pass down from generation to generation to generation, by way of, their children. And when their children go out here into the world, this is how they act. They present everything that they were taught. They present those values. They present everything that they were meant and told to hold dear from the past and bring it directly into the present and the future to continue on that endless cycle. And this is exactly what we have here at the Waffle House. But, like I said, it's just me. Maybe I'm seeing something that's not there. Maybe the Waffle House does not see color. Maybe I'm the one that sees color. So, maybe I'm the racist, right? But, like I said before, it is what it is. The lawyer 100% failed them. And that's how I sit up there and see it. And the Waffle House did the smart thing by having somebody black directly up there for that what if, and that what if came, and here you go. Case is closed. As soon as they said that they investigated themselves, they put a black face up there, and then that same black face just so happens to be a black woman, and she's the vice president, and she stated that this had nothing to do with discrimination. It was over. Case was closed. Case was closed. But like I said before, this is why as black people we need to patronize and build our own businesses within our own communities. So instead of us going to the news and trying to bring awareness to a lot of these things, I mean, bringing awareness is not a bad thing, but it's the after that matters. So after we have the awareness of like, all right, this establishment, all right, they got issues with black people, or black people got issues here. Now what, right? That's when we start speaking with our pockets. That's when us as a community, no matter what disagreements we have, we're like, you know what? We might not see eye to eye on a lot of things, but this is something that affects us. This is something that affects people like us. And because it does, we're no longer going to patronize this establishment. We need to say that as a group. In a moment in time, we start saying that as a group and they start losing money, the stocks start going down and their investors start having issues and people start trying to sell off what they got to save whatever they got. Then they're going to be like, all right, we're going to do a full change round. We're going to make sure this never, ever, ever happens again. They're going to actually mean that because they don't want that money to disappear. But because they know that that money is not going to disappear, they're going to put, you know, the little carrot directly in front of people's faces. See, it's not about race. We have a black woman who is the vice president of the Waffle House. See, we're not actually racist. When, like I said before, you can still be racist and still know black people. You can still be racist and have black neighbors. You can still be racist and have black people in your family. You can still be racist and have black coworkers. You can still be racist and have a black cat or a dog or a hat, a coat, or a car. But like I said, let everybody else tell it. Black people are the only ones that's fixated on race. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.